Hello, welcome to this video. In this video, we're going to be looking at a solution in the accounting world that's very well known for accountants called Iris. And we're going to be looking at it from a QuickBooks perspective. Now, I do this video from time to time where I review something else on the channel. We've done it from Xero, from Sage, and all other manners of pieces of software. And the idea is that it's looking at it from a QuickBooks user perspective and seeing how good it is for that particular person. Now, this particular piece of software is really for accountants only. So anyone who's non-accountant listening, then you don't need to skip this video at all, because I think you'll be able to find some really useful insights of how good QuickBooks is as a standalone product. But realistically, what this software is designed to do more than anything is to bridge the gap. And that gap is between your management set of accounts produced by QuickBooks and your statutory set of accounts that you file at Companies House or HMRC or wherever you need to do it. And that means you are reliant on being able to extract the data from QuickBooks and be able to convert it into something that can send. Now, we've done videos on this channel before where we've shown how you could do that manually, and it works really well. You can go to Companies House and you can go into their software and on their portal and be able to get the information from QuickBooks and be able to get ready to submit. Problem is though, especially if you own an accounting firm, that's quite a time laborious way of doing it. So we also rely on software not only to get the data like QuickBooks and what we call our management data, but as accountants we need to convert that data, make it compliant and create statutory accounts for you and your business. So how do we do that? Well, we rely on software called accounts production software. And accounts production software, especially if you're using something like QuickBooks, should be really intuitive, and that's what we're going to look at today. One of the gold standards of accounts production is Iris, and we're going to have a look and see if it's any good or not for QuickBooks users. Stay tuned. Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. My name is Aaron Patrick and I am a chartered accountant, a certified UK trainer with a fancy new logo, that QuickBooks chap on the internet, and head of accounts here at Boffix. Now in this video we're going to be having a review of Iris Accounts Production. Now, to give you a bit of a story, Iris Accounts Production was by far my favourite piece of software back in the day when I was learning to be an accountant. Iris always had a special place in my heart. It's where I learned the tricks and the trades of being an accountant, how to prepare statutory accounts, and effectively it was that piece of software that really had that shining example of what it was. And I've been really lucky lately because I've had an opportunity to go back to Iris and have a look at it. I've got a bit of a history of Iris as well. Not only did I used to use Iris on a day-to-day basis on my first ever accounting job, but when I used to do a webinar for QuickBooks themselves, which were looking at apps and how apps and the ecosystem is created, we actually explored, and I took on the job to explore Iris in that point and how it connects with QuickBooks. So I'm really excited to kind of go back to it and have a look at it again. So I'm really excited to go back to Iris, have that nostalgia feeling, look at all the information, see how far it's progressed from now till then, see how it's progressed from literally 10 years ago since I last properly used it to now, see how the technologies come on with that whole connection to QuickBooks as well. That's what the point of this channel is going to look at. And also it gives me an opportunity to maybe evaluate it for my own personal practice. Should I be using the software I'm using at the moment, or should I be finally considering going to what I think is one of the pinnacles of accounts production software? That's what this is all about. Come and join me in the story and let's get straight into it. Now, first of all, a bit of a disclaimer. Unfortunately, Iris isn't a cloud-based solution, which to me is one of those big negative no-nos. I really do find it astonishing that in this day and age, there's not a solution to become cloud-based. In fairness to Iris, they did acquire a piece of software that is fully cloud-based, so they probably kind of, in their defense, they do have that whole cloud-based solution there. It's just not their Iris. It's not their main accounts production gold standard solution, and we've covered that other solution before. It's called Tax Filer. It's going to be turned into what's called Iris Elements very soon, but effectively what that software is, and we've done it on the podcast before, and it is a very simplistic way of being able to take your data and convert it from QuickBooks, but Xero, any of those solutions, and convert it quite neatly and nicely into a set of statutory accounts. And when I was first starting out in practice, it was a perfect solution. I didn't quite use that particular one, but I am and still am using a very similar solution, which we will bring on the channel at some point. Now, for me personally, I've kind of outgrown probably that more standard, more simplified solution. And I am looking to take my practice to that next level. So something like Iris would be really useful. That being said, if it's not cloud-based, then I don't think I can make that jump. So in this case, for me to even use Iris, and remember I'm a Mac user, then I'm going to have to go through some VPNs to then be able to go and get a remote desktop connection to a computer sat somewhere. And I'm going to have to go through a whole rigmarole because effectively the software has to be installed elsewhere. And, you know, it is what it is. It's not ideal, but let's just go with it anyway, because at least when we're into the software, we're going to be able to use a lot better software than probably used to. Okay, so now I am into the software itself, and as you can see, aesthetically, nothing's changed. This reminds me very, very much of what it used to look like 10 years ago. So let's not judge a book by a cover, and actually going from kind of nostalgia point of view, that's quite nice, isn't it? You know, I can look at this data here and I can see, and I can probably go to and have a think about it and go, actually, you know what? This looks very, very similar. But the change is probably not a bad thing, because what that does mean is that I can actually go into there and kind of already have a feel of what to do and how to do it. And it kind of works quite well. So, you know, you get your options at the top here: new client, view client, director, secretary, shares, accounting period. You got the option to look at postings and data screens, trial balance and reports are all here. And then do notice here, export to my work papers. So my work papers is a piece of solution that we've looked at on this channel before, and a very competent piece of solution where you can have a more electronic work papers. So for me, that's a big positive. That's showing that Iris itself is looking at software and looking at opportunities to expand and connect to a piece of software, which, if you remember from my story, is where I looked at Iris again, and I looked at how Iris connected to QuickBooks, because that's really important. You see, the idea of this connection means that you're not having to duplicate work as an accountant. You take your data from QuickBooks, you maybe clean that file up, you get it as good as you possibly can, and then if you connect QuickBooks to your accounts production software, and there's a link between the two, well, that's magic, isn't it? You get the data from QuickBooks into Iris, and then from an accountant's point of view, we've just got to go through and make sure it's all compliant. So we've got to make sure that all the statutory notes are correct, maybe do a few adjustments here and there, maybe add a few transactions that we need to add. But if you've got that original connection, you're not starting from scratch. You already have a really good basis, and you're basically adding on to that basis. And a good analogy I like to use in this situation is if you were going to design a cake. Think of QuickBooks as the sponge and the basis of it, and Iris is the fancy bit around it. Well, you can go to town, can't you? And you can add flourishes to it, and you can put icing on top, and you can make it, and you can basically mold it into whatever the final solution is going to be. But ultimately, you can't have one without the other. For me, I've always seen QuickBooks as that basis cake there that's, you know, it's always going to be consistent. It's always going to be, you know, right. It's always going to be something you can utilize. Whereas you can then got that opportunity to add whatever solution you want to create the rest of it. And I feel like that's what Iris is. The fact that it is seen as the gold standard in accounts production kind of says that a lot, doesn't it? It helps it. Okay, let's explore a little bit more about it. Okay, so obviously my point of view is to see this from a QuickBooks perspective. And from what I remember, it's all about jumping into the posting area. Okay, where's my posting area? Oh, making some noises now. Ding, ding, ding. Okay. Oh, posting area is all the way over here. That's weird. All right. Okay, so that's over there. Okay. So I need to then, oh, there's a little mini bar up here. Okay. So from here then I need to, well, I can run a trial balance if I want to. Oh, again, that's gone off somewhere else. Where has that gone to? Oh, it's over here. Oh, doesn't like doing that. In fact, I can't get to my trial balance. Try that again. Nope, put it in the same place. Is there any way of, no, that's my help screen. I can make it, oh, if I make it bigger though. Ah, okay, there we are. Now I can move it around and bring that into here. maybe have that there, but it's not actually opened everything up for me. In fact, that can be the right information. Okay, that's fair enough. Bit slow on that one, but that's fine. Batch control, that's what I was after. Oh no, batch control's gone over here somewhere. Oh god. Oh. Okay, can I grab it from here? Yep. Okay, now we've got it. Right, okay, here we are. It's a little bit fiddly to use, you know, probably because it's not, you know, that cloud-based solution we're used to. But we finally got there. So let's use the whole idea. Right, let's go into the new button just here. Oh, okay, I don't know why it's gone over here again. I mean, you can't see on this screen, but what's actually happening here is every time I add something new, it's kind of posting it to the left for some reason. I don't know, whatever's happening. All right, but I finally got to here. So from here, let's, okay, that's gone again over there. All right, let's bring this one over here. No idea why it keeps posting to the left-hand screen. It's frustrating. In fairness, the problem I'm having here might be more of a remote desktop issue than opposed to a iris issue. And it might just be that for my second monitor that I have off the left-hand side here, that might be set as my default, and it might be that everything's posted down there and every time I create something. But it is a little bit kind of all over the place is what I would say. There I've been an idiot. So I was on the batch control. What I needed to be on was my advanced page. From advanced, I go to import from QuickBooks Online, and okay, don't seem to be working. Get that chime. Okay, it could be to do. Oh, here's that screen I'm after. QuickBooks Online import map. Okay. Oh, I have a message. Click using the link to bookkeeping from client maintenance screen. All right. Okay, let's go and find that one then. Client maintenance screen. Client. No, that's not the one. View client. Oh, here we go. Just post it all over here again. Oh, crikey. So I'm on client maintenance. I've got history. Again, you can't see this. It's on a different screen. It won't let me move it over. It's got my WIP, got my related, got categories, got tax. Oh, linked bookkeeping. There we are. Okay. QuickBooks Online. Okay. Coming up with an error message now. Okay. So when I remember doing this back in the day, it was a similar sort of process where there was a few kind of kinks here and there, but ultimately it was you connect your client, you put it into QuickBooks or Free Agent, I think the options were, and then it'd be able to bring it through. Now, it seems that there's some sort of error or issue or problem that's causing an issue here, which, you know, these things happen. The problem is that I've done some research on this. I've looked into this a little bit further, and it turns out that this error isn't just an error that's happened overnight. This is an error that's been around for a long time now. And it's never been fixed. And it seems like that instead of Iris looking to fix the solution, they've just ignored it and they haven't actually looked to find a way around it. And that really concerns me. Now, maybe I'm unlucky and maybe in this particular situation, I'm using some older software, or there may be a reason why I'm not being able to connect it. But the connection to it is very, very difficult to get myself into and get connected to and all that sort of stuff. It seems like it's a really tricky solution to look at. And maybe it's me. Maybe I'm going around it the wrong way. I've not used Iris enough to be able to know if there's a quicker way of creating these links. And maybe once the link's working, it's absolutely fine. But this is the same way that I looked at connecting to it back in the day. And it made me think about, well, that was 5 years ago. Everything else seems to be the same since 5 years ago. And it seems like the software hasn't progressed at all in those 10 years since I properly used it. And that really worries me. So yeah, I would love to show you the solution from start to finish, but I've encountered an error message and I have no idea how to fix that error message. And when I look on the support menus and look at other people talking about the same thing, it seems like that error message has been there for a while. So the only bit of information I can find on this is here. Unable to link QuickBooks Online client and accounts production. June 2018. which makes sense because if I think 5 years ago, well, that's around when I was looking at it. So I must have just been lucky at being able to see it working then. It's been reported that QuickBooks integration with accounts production do not work. Currently under investing by our development team. An update will be available as soon as possible. We apologise for any inconvenience caused. Was this useful? Yes or no? Well, probably not, to be honest. Now, again, there may be a solution for this already. Maybe there's a way for this to be fixed. Maybe it's a really simple fix. And that's the danger, isn't it, of having non-cloud accounting solutions, because maybe the Iris I'm using is out of date. There's lots of different ifs and buts and problems and everything else. Again, could be remote desktop that's preventing me from doing this. But ultimately, it doesn't work. And from here, it looks like it's not been working since 2018, which really baffles me. And ultimately, it just reminds me of the software itself and how lucky we are with other solutions out there that are rethinking the way that we do accounts. So let's put this connection to one side, because it's frustrating for me, because I really wanted to show that whole process of you've done your work in QuickBooks, you've connected it to Iris, and then the data flows through. Okay, so let's assume then that I'm just unlucky and that the connection normally does work, but for whatever reason, whatever the tech issue is, it's not working on mine. So in fairness to this review, I thought, well, let's go and do it the other way around, where you extract the data, import it into QuickBooks. So what I had to do was extract the data, do a bit of playing around with it, and then turn it into an Iris-friendly format. I then got the data into Iris, off to the races. But I wasn't, because the thing that really got to me was that all of those kind of issues I had with Iris back 10 years ago were still there. Like, for example, I couldn't have on one screen my set of accounts that I could then maybe update and refresh while working on the accounts in the posting area. It wouldn't let me do that. I just got that wonderful ding sign that we just keep getting. And every time I try and do something that I'm used to doing or is an efficient way of doing it, I get the ding noise. And it just reminds me of how desktop solutions can be so more restrictive to what you want to do and how you want to work with it. And it just brings me back to this whole point that there are a lot of solutions out there that claim to be cloud friendly or are in the cloud. And ultimately they're doing what we're doing here, where we're remotely going into a desktop environment. This, to me, isn't cloud. This isn't anything special. This isn't anything that we can work with and create wonderful workflows for. And ultimately, it's holding you back. And that's what I found with working with a software like this. Nostalgia-wise, I still put it as the pinnacle of what accounting software could be. But in reality, it takes me a lot longer to compile anything in this software than it ever would do if I used some of the competitors. And that's a real shame. Now, I think a lot of this is easily fixed. Like the idea that you can't work in two screens at once, that to me is just something that needs to be looked at. And fundamentally, they probably need to create a better working environment for their software and hopefully migrate it to the cloud, and all this sort of stuff will go away. But it does give a problem for a practice like ours that are growing, because where do we go to? Like, do we have to be contained with the software that we know that's really efficient and quick and easy and talks well with our other existing software? Or do we migrate to the more advanced software and know that, yes, it may be able to do more things and be able to have more opportunities to work with maybe bigger clients and everything else, but what we're losing is functionality, and it's really, really worrying. So yeah, this wasn't the review I was hoping for. I was hoping to come back into the world of Iris, be blown away with it, and be able to say how wonderful the solution is for a QuickBooks user. But unfortunately, it's not. And again, it could be down to the fact that I've got tech issues that aren't quite working, but these sort of tech issues shouldn't be a problem. It should be anyone should be able to connect to any piece of software, get that data in nicely, and have no problems without having a screen's appearing over here and a screen's appearing over there, and I have to click into this one to click into that one, and ultimately I have to come to some sort of banging my head against a wall. And when I do some research, it looks like it was 2018 that this problem occurred, and the problem has still not been rectified. If I was to get past all of these technical limitations and I went back to a solution like Iris, then I would have to accept that my jobs and my clients' work will have to take longer to be able to complete them. Maybe to a better overall final solution. Maybe they will get more out of the information that's provided. Maybe it will give me an opportunity to add some extra value to the clients. There are very good arguments to why using a solution like Iris is definitely one to consider. But ultimately what it will probably do is just give me that frustration, because I know there's quicker ways of getting data in. I shouldn't have to export the data from QuickBooks, put the data in there, get it all up to date, and so on and so forth. You know, it's pushing me down using the My Work Paper solution, which I love that solution, but I don't use that. I use QuickBooks Working Papers because it works so much better with QuickBooks. And I'm kind of, because I'm not using My Work Papers, I'm also losing out on probably a big section of where Iris can be really efficient for you. So yeah, it's an interesting time, but it's great to see this. It's great to kind of go back to the software to see the grass isn't always greener. Be able to look at your own software. If you're still doing things like this, where it's very desktop orientated, where you're having to export data, put stuff in, and maybe have to have other solutions to be able to get you to be able to get the data from one to another, that's not progress, and that's not going to help you. Iris is a fantastic piece of software, always going to have a great place in my heart, but it isn't designed for people who want to create a more efficient environment, in my opinion. And that, for me, is how I see Iris at the moment. Still maybe the pinnacle of what software can be in terms of the accounts production side of things, but ultimately it's not been given the love it needs in terms of updates and progress and everything else, because it's still the same software from 10 years ago with the same limitations, the same frustrations. And maybe it's even taken a step back. If it's true that the software used to, because I have video evidence of me doing it before, connecting it to QuickBooks, but if that has officially broken and it's never been fixed, to me that's a massive step backwards. And it's a real shame, because again, this should be the pinnacle of accounts production software. But what do you think? Let me know in the comments below. Are you having a better time with Iris? Am I just on a really old version of it and I should really find a way to update to get a better opinion of it? Let me know below. I'm really intrigued to find out. I want people out there who are Iris fanboys and fangirls. I want them to come out and tell me that I'm wrong, because ultimately we need to have a better understanding of what the software is. World of accountancy is evolving at such a rapid rate. We need to be able to make sure that we're giving the right advice when it comes to what software you should be on. And I want to deep dive better into these sort of software, but I can't do that if it's not working for me. So I'm not done with Iris. I have faith that there is a better way. There is probably something that will just solve all this for me. But at the end of the day, if I'm going to be struggling with it, then that's a real representation that you might be struggling as well. And we need to make sure that these things don't cause issues. So my name has been Aaron Patrick. As always, this video has been an absolute pleasure to do. Hopefully we can have more videos like this. Let me know in the comments below. Is there anything else you want me to look at? I've got a few other software solutions that I have in mind. I've also need to be doing this for the software that I use in-house, because I think you'll be blown away at how much more interactive the software can be compared to what we have here. My name's been Aaron Patrick. As always, this video has been an absolute pleasure to do. I can't wait more than anything as well to see what QuickBooks has on offer, and more on that later in their accounts production solution. Now, in conclusion, yes, I feel a little bit disappointed that my nostalgia for this piece of software hasn't pushed it forward enough that I can actually sit here and say I can recommend the software, but they're the lemons we've been dealt with. Now, I do want to make lemonade out of these lemons. I do want to find positivity out of this, and that's what I will do, mark my words. So let's hope that this software isn't stuck in time. I do feel a little bit like I've gone back in time 10 years and I'm exactly where I was before. But let's hope that's just my isolated issues and isolated problems, and it's something that can be dealt with going forward. Let's hope, because again, without something like Iris leading the way and being the gold standard, then it gives us a lot of problems going forward for the future of what accounts production can do. I am the QuickBooks chap. I haven't been able to use QuickBooks as much as I like in this particular video, but that's my challenge to make sure that going forward we find accounts production software that works better with QuickBooks Online. As always, this video has been a pleasure to do. I will see you in the next one. Don't forget to like, subscribe and all that sort of stuff, because this really will help us push on to the next level. My name is Aaron Patrick. Great to see you, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to be asked to be advocate for Iris after this video.